The story told of a wealthy, elderly miser named Ebenezer Scrooge, a lonely moneylender with a bitterly cold worldview, complete apathy for the less fortunate, and who saw Christmas as just another workday, wanting nothing to do with the holiday.
A Merry Christmas, Uncle Scrooge. God save you.
Merry Christmas? Out upon Merry Christmas! What's Christmas time to you but a time for paying bills without money, a time for finding yourself a year older, but not an hour richer, a time for balancing your books and having every item in them through a round dozen of months presented dead against you? If I could work my will, every idiot who would go about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled in his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart he should.
It's been 7 years to the day since the death of his equally greedy business partner, Jacob Marley. Scrooge's current assistant, the humble Bob Cratchit, suffers through the long, cold workdays with little to no coal in the fireplace, only to receive less than adequate wages to raise his lower-class family. At the end of the workday on Christmas Eve, Scrooge reluctantly allows Cratchit to take Christmas Day off.
A poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December, but I suppose you must have the whole day. Be here all the earlier the next morning.
Scrooge then heads out into the cold, dark night to make his nightly stroll back home through the snowy streets of London. That night, as Scrooge prepares for bed, he is suddenly visited by an apparition, the ghostly vision of his long-deceased business partner Jacob Marley, who has been forced to wander the afterlife, lugging around an entanglement of heavy, clanging iron chains as punishment for the greed and sins he's committed throughout his life.
I am here tonight to warn you that you have yet a chance and hope of escaping my fate. A chance and hope of my procuring Ebenezer.
You were always a good friend to me, Jacob.
You will be haunted by 3 spirits.
Is that the chance and hope you mentioned, Jacob?
It is.
I think I'd rather not.
Later that night, Scrooge is visited by the first spirit, a spectral, childlike figure of indistinguishable gender.
Who and what are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Long past?
No, your past.
Guided by the spirit, Scrooge relives many key events that have shaped him into the man he is today. He sees himself as a loner schoolboy who never bothered making friends. He sees his younger sister Fan die while giving birth to her son, Scrooge's nephew Fred. He witnesses a joyous Christmas party from years ago, thrown by Mr. Fezziwig, a businessman he used to apprentice for. He watches his younger self cold-heartedly drive away the only love of his life and fiancée, Belle, who left Scrooge years ago after feeling he was more in love with his money than her. And finally, the spirit shows Scrooge what Belle's life is like now, happily married to a loving husband and together have raised a large family. Scrooge grows sad and begs the spirit to take him home.
Remove me, spirit. I cannot bear it. Leave me. Take me back. Haunt me no longer.
But after a short tussle, the ghost is gone and Scrooge is back in his bedroom. Soon a booming voice can be heard just on the other side of the bedroom door. He nervously opens it and sees a giant, jolly man sitting in front of a roaring fire, waiting for Scrooge. And strewn around him is the biggest feast and the most beautiful holiday display Scrooge had ever seen.
Come in, and know me better, man. I am the ghost of Christmas present. Look upon me. You have never seen the like of me before?
Never.
Have you never walked forth with the younger members of my family? Meaning, for I am very young, my elder brothers born in these later years.
I don't think I have. I'm afraid I have not. Have you had many brothers, Spirit?
More than 1,800.
A tremendous family to provide for.
And with that, Scrooge and the Ghost of Christmas Present begin their journey with a tour of various spots in London where folks were beginning their joyous holiday celebrations. The ghost took Scrooge to the home of his nephew Fred, where he was enjoying the holiday with his family. The spirit also brings Scrooge to the home of his employee, Bob Cratchit. For the first time in the many years he's had Bob in his employment, he sees the impoverished lifestyle he leads as he tries to make ends meet with his wife and 6 children. The youngest of his kids, Tim, walks with a crutch. Tim is horribly emaciated and has an illness that Bob Cratchit is unable to afford to get treatment for. Despite this, Tim is a happy boy who greatly appreciates what little he and his family have been blessed with.
Spirit, tell me if Tiny Tim will live.
I see a vacant seat in the Paul chimney corner, and a crutch without an owner, carefully preserved. If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will die.
No, oh no, kind spirit! Say he will be spared!
If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, none other of my race will find him here. What then? If he be like to die, he better do it and decrease the surplus population.
As their journey drew to a close, Scrooge noticed the spirit beginning to age more and more rapidly.
Are spirits' lives so short?
My life upon this globe is very brief. It ends tonight.
Tonight?
Tonight at midnight. Hark! The time is drawing near.
As the ghost faded away to nothing, a bell struck 12, and suddenly in front of him, he saw a solemn phantom, draped and hooded, coming towards him like a mist along the ground.
I am in the presence of the ghost of Christmas yet to come.
The spirit didn't answer, but pointed onward with its hand.
You are about to show me shadows of the things that have not happened, but will happen in the time before us. Is that so, spirit?
The ominous hooded ghost leads Scrooge to 3 rich businessmen conversing with each other. After hearing about the death of a rich local, they joke that his funeral will more than likely have no one in attendance. Scrooge doesn't want to believe who they are inevitably talking about, but without a word of explanation from the spirit, they press on, where Scrooge watches several horrifying scenes play out in front of him involving the death of this unknown hated man. His possessions have been stolen and resold by a couple of his former servants. His funeral service is completely unattended, and poor families with debt to pay are happy to hear of his passing. The spirit takes Scrooge back to the Cratchit household, where Tiny Tim now lays in bed as he grows weaker and weaker. Finally, his body succumbs to the illness, and, as his entire family is gathered around, he dies. Scrooge demands that he be taken to the cemetery to finally see once and for all who the unknown dead man is. The ghost points out the lonely, unkempt gravestone.
Spirit, before I draw nearer to that stone to which you point, answer me one question. Are these the shadows of the things that will be, or are they the shadows of things that may be only? Men's courses will foreshadow certain ends to which, if persevered in, they must lead, but if the courses be departed from, the ends will change. Say it is thus with what you show me.
And with that, Scrooge sees the name etched in the stone, and collapses to his knees.
Spirit, heal me! I am not the man I was! Why show me these things if I am past all hope? Good spirit, your nature intercedes for me and pities me. Assure me that I yet may change these shadows you have shown me by an altered life. I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. I will live in the past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all 3 shall strive within me. I will not shut out the lessons that they teach. Oh, tell me I may sponge away the writing on this stone.
But as Scrooge tugged on the ghost's robe, begging for mercy, the robe suddenly changed into one of his bed curtains, and he found himself back in his own room. It was Christmas morning, and after what he had went through last night, he felt like a different man. For the first time in his life, he felt the Christmas spirit and was excited to be alive.
It's Christmas Day.
I haven't missed it! The spirits have done it all in one night! Well, they can do anything they like. Of course they can, of course they can.
Scrooge hurriedly got dressed and headed towards the home of his nephew Fred. Along the way, he stopped to say hello and Merry Christmas to the townspeople, and not without making some extremely generous donations to charity. He arrives at his nephew's house to share in the Christmas Day festivities. The next morning, Scrooge made it a point to arrive at work extra early to make Bob Cratchit look late. And sure enough, Cratchit arrived.
What do you mean by coming here at this time of day?
I am very sorry, sir. I am behind my time.
You are? Yes, I think you are. Step this way, sir, if you please.
It's only once a year, sir. It shall not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday, sir.
Now, I'll tell you what, my friend. I am not going to stand for this sort of thing any longer. And therefore, I am about to raise your salary.
A Merry Christmas, Bob.
A merrier Christmas, Bob, my good fellow, than I have given you for many a year. I'll raise your salary and endeavor to assist your struggling family, and we will discuss your affairs this very afternoon over a Christmas bowl of smoking bishop, Bob. Make up the fires and buy another coal scuttle before you dot another I, Bob Cratchit.
And with that, Scrooge was better than his word. Tiny Tim didn't die, and Scrooge became a second father to him. And so this ends Scrooge's supernatural tale of redemption.